The Mueller report is out, but many are still asking questions about how the investigation began. One America's Jack Posobiec sat down with a veteran CIA officer to learn more.
I wanted to talk with you a little bit about breaking down this idea of a counterintelligence investigation of a presidential campaign and what happened versus what was supposed to happen.
So far, what essentially the opposition to this, the Democratic Party, is trying to come out and claim is that this was a mere act of surveillance, and you've seen absolute outrage on their part where this is called spying.
Right, so Barr uses the phrase spying.
Correct.
They said, no, it was court-ordered surveillance, and Barr said, what's the difference?
FBI is required by law, as are all the intelligence agencies. If we learn that there is a threat against an organization or a person, we're required to go to them and say so. But if they actually learn that there was a threat against the Trump campaign, somebody within that campaign cooperating with the Russians, then by law they're required to go to the head of that organization, which would have been candidate Trump at the time, and explain to him. From that point forward, if they'd gone forward with the FISA request to gain the warrant, to then look at that person on the campaign, put somebody close enough to him, an FBI agent or an informant, to look at that person, that then would have been surveillance. And if you look at another case that's a very close parallel with Dianne Feinstein, Senator Feinstein.
So how did it work? So we know Feinstein had a longtime Chinese spy in her office. How did it work when they opened that counterintelligence investigation?
It worked the way it was supposed to in that one. And they went to Senator Feinstein, informed her that they had evidence that this individual that had been on her staff for 20 years was a spy for the Chinese. Now, what happened then from that point forward played out quite differently. She just let this person go and no follow-up was done, which is a separate story altogether and another problem. But it did what it was supposed to do. The FBI informed her immediately of their suspicions. And if they had just done something on their own without telling her, that would have been an act like spying, which is how it turned out with President Trump, now President Trump.
They were concerned that the president himself was involved in these actions.
Well, I think that's what they're saying now. There was nothing, if you look at, it's been redacted, but if you look at the FISA request, there's nothing in there that indicates any of that was what was being targeted by the FISA warrant that was issued. So it's difficult to believe after the fact that that's the case, but also as more and more information comes up on the Steele dossier, there's nothing in there that's even reasonably indicates that President Trump himself was ever being handled by the Russians.
What should Barr do, in your opinion, here?
AG Barr needs to dig into this, find out the truth of it, and let the law play itself out the way it's supposed to. I think over the next month or two, we're going to see a lot of activity on that and very likely some indictments.
Brad Johnson, thank you so much for being with us today.
Jack, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.